Thank you for tuning into this episode of Wong Art. Today I will be doing an art review and critique for one of my patrons. So I have a Patreon page where people can sign up to have mentorship from me. I'm a comic book artist from Marvel and DC. You can check out more of my work on my website. It's waldenwongart.com. Over there you can find out some of the artwork that I've done for different publishers. And again, back to the Patreon. Patreon is where people who are watching my YouTube channel, they enjoy it. They want to show support. You can show support there as well as get mentorship from me. It's patreon.com/waldenwongart. Danny is one of my patrons where he would send me some of his artwork once a month, and I would look at his art and I would make this art review and critique video. And so without further ado, let's check out Danny's work. So here's Danny's work. I don't know if Danny has a scanner, but he sent me a photograph of this. So he has, I believe, the pencils. Here's the pencils that I worked on, and then here's the inks. I'm just going to critique the inks. Now, this was sent as a photograph instead of a scan. I'm going to show you all how to convert this into a scan, okay? So when you have a photograph of your artwork, just so we can see the inks a little bit better, what I usually do is I'll go to image, mode, and I convert to grayscale. Once I'm on grayscale, there we go. Now all the yellowish is going to be gone. From there, I would just go to image, adjustment, and then levels. Okay, once I'm on levels, this right arrow, you can move it to the left and right, and it's going to make the whites whiter. And then this area here, the center arrow, you move it to the right, it'll make the inks darker. I don't want any of this lighter area, so I'm just going to toggle this towards the left a little bit. I'm going to zoom in by pressing Ctrl+, so I can make sure the lines are not disappearing, because if you go too far, some of the line work will disappear. So we're going to keep it as close to what Danny had inked originally. So good. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to take a look at, click OK. So now we have the inks. Some of this white area, say you're sending to a publisher and you don't want that there, you can use your dodge tool. Dodge tool is quick key 0. I just adjust this a little bit larger. Just go here and just kind of erase that light area, and then you can crop it, and then you can send it, and it looks like a scan page instead of a picture photograph. Okay, areas that are a little bit lighter, you can use your burn tool, which is here, burn tool. Okay, and then the area that's around over here, the face, I just go in there and just darken it up a little bit. See? And then now you can make your inks a little bit darker. So usually when I do comic book work, after I'm done inking the page, I'll scan it, and then I'll do some post-production where I'm dodging, burning, adjusting the levels, making it darker, make the whites whiter. So when it's ready for production, it's clean. Okay, we're gonna take a look at the pencils first. So here's a pencil, photograph of the pencils. Okay, pencils are, I believe, it's by Danny. Danny penciled it himself, and he's inking it, or maybe he's inking someone else's. And then here's the inks, but I'm just gonna focus on the inking. So I'm gonna go and move this back into, let's see, RGB color image, just because I want my markings to be in red. So here, markings in red. Now, when I'm inking something like this, say I got hired by a publisher and they want me to do some inking. Inking's been one of my, Danny's been one of my Patreon for a while, so he's actually learned quite a few art techniques from me, and he's improving a lot as an inker. I also got the opportunity to meet him in San Francisco when he was traveling from Texas to San Francisco. So if you're also a Patreon and you're traveling to San Francisco, I would love to meet you sometime, okay? And one thing I noticed here is I would actually make some of these lines a little bit thicker, okay? So I'm going to grab the red pin, okay? This character's head, the holding line of the outside of the head, I would actually make this thicker just so I can see more of his head pop out more, okay? So all the lines that you originally inked, Danny, I would just beef up those lines. Beef up those lines, and also focus on line weights, like thick to thin, okay? So make that area a little bit thicker. I will also make this line a little bit thicker, just to push the hair forward out a little bit. So lines like over here, a little bit thicker, okay? Good. Yeah, for the line weights, I like how you did your line weights, how it's thick over here and it goes thin and then it goes thicker right around here. So that's done pretty well. Okay, yeah, the line was getting good. Your spacing, the spacing of these taper lines, that's also done well. Okay, your tree bark in the back. A little bit too much, more lines than I would ink, but it still looks okay. Sometimes you can break up those lines. I'm gonna go and ink some tree bark for you, so I'll show you how I do it. Let's go in here and kind of break up those lines. Those lines doesn't have to always be like complete. Like I like breaking them up. Like if you look at wood texture, you see some lines, and then you see a line and then it kind of breaks up. So that's one thing to be focused on, to create textures. There's an area that I found that was a little bit off, like right here. Okay, you see how you have these hatch lines over here, all of a sudden it just turns into black. What I would do is I would have that gradual. This way you have a like more gradual gradation look from a light area to a medium value to a dark area. Right now all you have is a medium area and then a black area. I'm gonna go over here and show you how I approach doing that. So I would ink in a lot of thin lines, and then as I get into the black area, I'll start making these lines thicker. I even sometimes go back twice and make those a little bit thicker. Okay, let me do that again. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit closer so you all can see. So right here, I will start inking a line, and I'll ink another line. And as I get into the black area, all this is the black area, I will start making that line thicker. Not only am I making that line thicker, I'm also making each line space closer together. So from here, a line here, thicker. Okay, thicker, and then thicker. Like you eventually those lines are getting thicker and closer to each other, like that. So when you're looking at this area, and close that off, you'll see that this area is going from light to medium to a black area. So right here, I'm going to demonstrate on the black over here. I'm just going to erase all of this first. You see layer, I'm going to flatten this, erase all of this first, make it white so you can see. Okay, and then I'm just gonna use black. Okay, black in here. So I'm gonna start inking a line, and then I'll go thicker, and I'll go thicker, and closer to each other until that disappears. Okay, let's take a look and see how that looks. You see how now it's more of a gradual gradation instead of like a gray and then to a black. So let's look at it before. You see, there's a blend, but now it's a little bit softer. Okay, I'm just gonna do maybe this eye area. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this part and demonstrate how I approach doing it over here. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this thin line. Okay, as I go towards the back, I would start drawing those lines thicker and closer to each other, and go back and make it thicker, like that. This will create a gradual gradation. Okay, and then close up those lines. See that? Okay, let's take a look at it, how it looks like before. Okay, let me go back a little bit further. See, it's just like white and then black, and then now we have the gradation. It's a little bit softer going into the black area. Okay, so that's a tip that that I don't think you learned from me yet, so you can do that. Good job on the background. Spacing is done well. Bounce line weights. I will make this line weight over here a little bit thicker. Okay, here, just to pop the forehead, the front of the head out a little bit more, just to make it a little bit thicker. Same with these guys, I will pop this area in the front. I see the hair as a cluster, like the head going forward to the foreground. The body is really done well. It reminds me of all the Image Comics days, or the Extreme Comics. Those are done really nicely. Okay, the feet over here is kind of disappearing into the background. So because that's happening, I would go in here and thicken up this line, just to pop that leg forward. Okay, pop that leg forward, it'll be a little better. Some of these, you see how this this wooden part over here is sitting on these rocks. I'm gonna go in here and just beef up some of these, add some shadows, make this thicker. You know, I'm just gonna go in here and use black so you can see what's happening. Okay, as if I was inking this traditionally with a regular ink. So I'm just make some of these lines a little bit thicker, darker. Now when I zoom back, you can see that it's inside, like that wooden part is like inside there, so that makes it a little bit better. Objects in front that are closer to the viewer should be a little bit darker, so I'm just gonna make some of these, add a little bit of shadow here, just little bits and pieces. So I'm gonna go in here and look for areas that I can make add a little splotches of black shadows, like this. And I'm really just going in there and making these random areas that just mix, like if it just I just go in there and I go by feeling, okay? So whatever looks nice. See that? Now when you look at it, there's more depth to the objects in front and the objects in the back. So let's look at it before. Okay, when we zoom back, okay, and then after I add those pieces in there, you see how it just brings it closer to the foreground? Okay, the hair, we're gonna go in here and talk about the hair a little bit. First of all, we're gonna go and darken up some of these lines because some of the lines are a little bit light. So I'm gonna darken them up just to see how it looks like. You know, after darkening it up, it looks pretty good. Okay, I was gonna say go back here and make some of these darker. Yeah, so for this part, it looks pretty good. Okay, now here, I will use white ink to break up some of this line over here. Okay, so I like how these lines, there's like mountain tops over here. But for the white area, just use white ink. You can use like a gel pen or a whiteout pen or maybe FW Pro White on a quill or on a brush and paint that in. They sell these white paint that you can mix with water and then ink on top of black, and it will be white lines. If you want to check out and get some for yourself, go to my website. It's Walden Art, and then on the top right there's a button that says Walden on Amazon. Click that, go to the supplies area, and you'll see all the supplies that I use. One of them is called the FW Pro White. You can use that for inking. Anyway, back to this. I will go in here and use white to break up some of that straight line. So right here, just add some textures here, add some grass coming out and bits and pieces, just so it gives it more depth to the objects that you're working on. See that? There, good. Yeah, good job, by the way. Yeah, and then I'm gonna add again. When I'm doing stuff like this, I'm going by feeling. This is based on the amount of work that I've done for publishers in such a long time. And then over here, I would add some shadows. Yeah, backgrounds to me are like is just as important as a figure work. So here's just some shadows over here, some shadows here, and then beef up the objects that are closer to the front. And then I'm doing this randomly there. See that? So now there's more like stuff in the front and stuff in the back. It just looks a little bit like there's more depth in the background. See that? So that's before, and then that's after with some more textures. I really like the way you ink the arms on these. Like I just want you to make them a little bit more smoother. So let's see, nice job on some of the fabric over here. I would also do the same with some of these. Just kind of beef some of them up, just accentuate some of the folds a little bit better. Okay, but otherwise this is good inking, Danny. Very well done. You've improved. I think Danny's been doing my Patreon for maybe a year or two already, and Danny will send me stuff to look at. And before I would just comment, he would send me pictures of some stuff and I would comment. When we do full reviews, he would absorb everything. He's like a sponge. He absorbs everything I tell him through Messenger, through chat. We text each other, and then he's improving a lot as an artist. He also draws really well too, Danny. If you look at one of my videos, meeting Danny at one of my patrons, you get to meet him. I did a full interview with Danny, so check that out. So there you have it. That's Danny's artwork. So here's the pencils are. Let me see if I can go all the way back to the pencils. Here's the inks and then the pencils. Let me see if I can go back. And that's the pencils. Okay, let's go back on here on the inks. So there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I'll have more art review and critique videos. If you're thinking about joining one of my patrons, being one of my patrons, check out my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/waldenart. You can go there and show support for all these videos that I make over here on YouTube. Or if you're interested in joining one of my mentorship levels, check that out. Check out my website, it's waldenart.com. There you'll see my work in the comic book world, like the stuff that I've done for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and so forth. You can also buy original art, you can buy prints from me, you can also contact me to do commissions. You can also look at all my different social medias that I have out there in the world. So until next time, keep on drawing, keep on inking, keep on learning. The more you learn, the more you practice, the better you get. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.